Hello, my name is Jasmine Stanley. I will be discussing today my research proposal outline and presentation. I attend Grand Canyon University, College of Humanities and Social Science. The course that I am taking is SW55 Methods of Research in Social Work 1. Professor Carla Vilches. Today is 12/24/25. The agenda that I will discuss is the problem statement, introduction, research question, literature review, methodology, theoretical framework, data analysis software, implications for practice, impact of culture, diversity, and oppression, ethical considerations, and recommendations. I hope you enjoy this. So let's talk about my problem statement. So today I want to introduce a very, very high social issue. Okay, and that is social workers and the burnout that we experience. So, my problem statement is social workers experience high levels of stress, burnout, anxiety, or depression. It often affects their ability to provide effective services to vulnerable populations. And we know vulnerable populations to be what we also can call marginalized individuals, right? So, our role as social workers is to assist, to help, to advocate for those, what I like to say is without a voice, but those who often seem unheard. And we want to advocate for the whole person, right? Their full well being. Sometimes in doing that, we hear second hand trauma. So their experience, which often hit us as social workers, and that becomes trauma for us. Okay. Even though it's their lived experience, it also becomes a second hand experience for us as social workers, which can sometimes cause burnout. In my introduction, I will discuss health challenges in social work, high caseloads, and insufficient organizational support, as well as purpose of study. The research question or hypothesis that I came up with is higher caseload sizes and lower supervisory support will significantly predict higher levels of anxiety and depression among social workers. While completing my literature review, I looked at three different levels, and in social work, we know those levels to be micro, meso, and macro. So I'm going to speak a little bit about each. So again, during my literature review, I realized or I found that social workers experience increased psychological strain, including anxiety and depression. So that's on the micro level, which is the individual level. On a meso level, which is the organizational level, okay, social workers experience kind of the same, but on an organizational level, agencies face reduced productivity, higher turnover rate. So that's where a lot of social workers, case managers are leaving or they're being fired. And strained team dynamics when staff are overwhelmed and unsupported. On a macro level, which is the systemic level, okay, the workforce instability and mental health challenges among social workers can compromise service delivery, client outcomes, and sustainability of social service systems. So I want to talk a little bit about the client outcomes. So when a person, an employee, a social worker, a case manager is not at their best in their mental health or physically, they don't produce the most quality form of work, right? So their work is not as much quality as it would be um if they weren't under so much stress and so much secondary trauma. So that affects at the systemic level, okay? So the method that I would use is a quantitative component, which would utilize PHQ-9s, which is a survey, and also a semi-structured interview, and that would be utilized as well. So, for example, PHQ-9s, they are a part of a person's patient health questionnaire. So we ask questions on those surveys such as, are you eating? Are you feeling affected? How are you sleeping at night? How are you when it comes, are you still interested in doing things that you like to do? Do you still go out with friends? Are you sleeping more? Are you eating more? Things of that nature to gauge where a person's mental health is. Are you feeling sad or depressed? Are you feeling like you want to harm yourself? So those would be the questions on the survey. Additionally, we would do a semi-structured interview. And I think with the interviews, it's more unbiased. They will be one-on-one with the individual or participant. And that's important because we want to make sure that the questions that we're giving and the answers that we're receiving are valid and that they're reliable. We want to stay away from bias, right? So we think that this form of methodology would be unbiased and valid. And that's very important as it pertains to research. The theoretical framework that I would like to use in this research would be the conceptual focus and rationale. This study examines two core characteristics, okay? So it studies the caseload size, which is the demand, and the supervisory support, which is a resource. And this is a predicator of mental health outcomes among social workers. The rationale choice theory would help, and it explains why people make certain choices that they make, right? So it helps to explain why they make the choices that they make in life upon weighing cost, benefits, and risk. So we think that this would be, or I think this would be the best theoretical framework. Additionally, as we look at data analysis, as I just discussed, the PHQ-9 again, which is the patient health questionnaire, it's used to access or to assess depression, and it also provides a numeric score. So upon asking these questions, the scores are like 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 4 being the highest. So you would circle each score, and at the end you would add it up, and that would give you the numeric score. The higher the score, the higher the depression or anxiety that the person is feeling. Again, like we said, we will also use that semi-structured interview system. I think that's really good. Again, it keeps from bias. One of the things we want to make sure is the person is giving their own experience, and so that's why I think that interview would be great in this research component. So, implications for practice. What are my proposed interventions? Okay, so my greatest proposed intervention would be caseload management strategies, right? So we want to look at the maximum caseload limits. We want to redistribute cases equitably. We want to make sure that this person is not receiving a high caseload because seemingly they're capable, when honestly they could just be an overachiever, and we're not giving this person a caseload that's down here because it seems like they're an underachiever. We want to make sure the caseloads are equitable. So caseload management is great. We want to also utilize workload assessment tools that can help ensure that social workers have manageable responsibilities. We don't want to cause burnout. Furthermore, we want to look at where the burnout is coming from. Let's prevent it before it even starts. The primary goal of this intervention is to help social workers feel seen. A lot of people don't feel seen, whether you're a social worker, an employer that's working at the grocery store. We want you to feel seen. This research will help us to understand that and to gauge that. We want to make sure that we're providing interventions that help combat that feeling, right? So we want them to feel seen, heard, and supported while reducing the impact of that secondary trauma. And that's a direct correlation with mental health outcomes as well. So this situation, this issue has a huge impact on culture, diversity, and oppression. Informed consent. So we want to make sure that informed consent is obtained before participation. That's very important. So we want to provide the individuals with the understanding of the purpose of the research, the procedures, and their right to withdraw at any time without penalty. Okay? Additionally, given the sensitive nature of the mental health topics, we don't know what's going to come out in this research or in the study. So participants will be provided with resources for counseling um, or support services. Okay, this is very important for culture, and different cultures don't fully always accept the help. But again, as social workers, we want to make sure that we're providing it across the board. Equity is the goal. Ethical considerations. I just spoke about one. We want to ensure informed consent. Again, they're able to. That will be provided before participation, ensuring individuals understand the purpose of the research, again, procedures, and their right to withdraw at any time. Now, according to NASW 2025, clients should be informed about any technology being used, be presented with pros and cons related to its use, and given choices around how and when technology will be used. So that's very important as an ethical consideration. Additionally, we want to make sure that they understand, every participant understands confidentiality. Confidentiality will be maintained by making sure that their answers, the participants, are anonymous, all data, and securely stored. So we want to make sure we securely store their records to ensure confidentiality. This is like number two, but number one. Even though informed consent is very important, so is confidentiality. As social workers, we're always looking at different HIPAA laws. We're making sure that we're exhibiting confidentiality with the clients. Well, the same with those that are burnt out. Okay, we want to make sure that we're making sure it's inclusive. That's the main thing, inclusivity. Okay. So my recommendations, what would they be? Number one, employee assistance programs. We like to call them EAP. These are programs for social workers experiencing anxiety and depression. Access to mental health resources is a great benefit for both the employee and the organization. So it is a win-win. Okay. Workshops. We need workshops on mindfulness, coping strategies. Again, we want to combat the burnout before it happens, and emotional regulation to help social workers manage stress. Okay. And to prevent burnout. Lastly, we want to not leave out the organization. So I recommend that we train supervisors in supportive leadership practices. Okay, you want to make your employee feel heard, make them feel seen, let them know that you understand that caseloads are high, but we're here to help, including regular check ins, okay, coaching. Additionally, emotional support is recommended. So I really hope that you enjoyed this presentation. I thank you so much for listening, and I really hope that you gain strategy, and that once this research proposal is put into action, we will implement great interventions. Thank you so much and have an amazing day.